Have you ever wondered why certain people get under your skin? Why their arrogance, their selfishness, their weakness infuriates you more than it should? Have you ever looked at someone and thought, I could never be like that? Only to catch yourself later doing something eerily similar. What if I told you that the very traits you hate the most in others are quietly growing inside you? It's not weakness. It's not failure. It's psychology. And it's you. There's a reason that guy at work drives you insane. There's a reason you can't stand your brother-in-law, your neighbor, your boss. And it's not just them. It's what they awaken in you. You see, there's a part of your mind that you've buried, a darker side you've learned to ignore, the anger you swallowed as a boy, the ambition you were told was selfish, the fear, the pride, the fire, all of it still lives inside you. Carl Jung called this the shadow. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't face it, it will run your life without your permission. This isn't about therapy or self-help cliches. This is about power. The kind of power that comes when a man confronts what he spent decades denying. So the question is, are you man enough to look in the mirror and ask, what part of me have I been running from? Because until you face your shadow, you'll never truly be free, and you'll keep becoming exactly what you swore you'd never become. This is the hardest battle a man can fight, and it starts here, right now, with you. So what exactly is the shadow? It's not some myth. It's not just your dark side like in comic books. It's real. It's psychological, and it's shaping your life whether you like it or not. The shadow is everything you've been told not to be. Everything you've pushed down, everything you've denied in order to survive, succeed, or be a good man. It's the part of you that wanted to scream when you were told to be quiet, the part that wanted to win, even when they said, don't be so competitive, the part that wanted to cry, to hit back, to speak up, but didn't. Over the years, you learned to wear a mask. Be strong, be nice, be the provider, be in control. But where did all that real stuff go? The anger, the fear, the lust, the pride, the hunger for more? You buried it. And what you bury doesn't die. It waits. It festers. It whispers through your choices, through your addictions, your arguments, your silent frustrations. You think you're in control? Think again. The shadow shows up when you lose your temper for no reason, when you sabotage a good thing, when you hate a man because he reminds you of something you don't want to see in yourself. That's the shadow at work. But here's the kicker. The shadow isn't just your bad parts. It's also your potential, your courage, your creativity, your drive. Everything you've exiled to look like a man, when being a man means facing all of who you are. Carl Jung didn't see the shadow as something to destroy. He saw it as something to integrate. Not to be ashamed of, but to understand. Because the minute you stop running from it is the minute you take your power back. You're not just the man the world sees, you're also the man you've tried to hide. And it's time to bring that man home. So how did your shadow form in the first place? You weren't born with it. You built it, not on purpose, but out of necessity. From a young age, you were taught what was acceptable and what wasn't. Maybe your father told you, real men don't cry. Maybe your coach barked, suck it up. Maybe your church, your school, your culture praised you for being obedient, quiet, polite, even when something inside you was screaming. You wanted to fight back, but you learned it was safer to hold it in. You wanted attention, but you were called selfish. You wanted to win, but they told you to tone it down. Piece by piece, you started cutting off parts of yourself just to fit in. That's where the shadow was born. Not because you were evil, but because you were trying to survive. So you shoved those instincts, feelings, and truths into the basement of your mind. You built your public self, the good son, the reliable man, the hard worker, and you buried the rest. But here's the truth. Those parts didn't disappear. They became the fuel behind every unexplained rage, every self-sabotage, every time you explode over something small and wonder, Where the hell did that come from? It came from him, the part of you you locked away years ago. Your shadow isn't some monster. It's the boy who was told to shut up, the teenager who was laughed at, the man who still thinks he has to wear a mask to be respected. You've spent decades trying to be what others expected. But what if the strength you've been chasing is in the very parts you tried to kill off? The shadow is not your enemy. It's your unlived life, your fire, your truth. And it's been waiting for you to come back. Because real freedom doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It comes from reclaiming what you left behind. Here's the part no one tells you. Your shadow isn't just a storage unit for shame, rage, or guilt. It's also where your power lives, buried under all the things you were told to suppress. Your anger, your pride, your ambition are the very traits that could make you unstoppable. That temper you hate, when understood, it becomes strength, the fire to protect what matters. That envy you bury, it points directly to the life you secretly want, but are afraid to chase. That aggression you suppress, it's the engine of your drive, your passion, your will to build, lead, conquer. You were never meant to be a hollow version of yourself. You were meant to be whole, flawed, real, and powerful. But you can't be powerful if you're still afraid of what's inside you. Think about it. How many times have you played it safe? Bit your tongue? Choked back what you really felt? Just to keep the peace or look like the better man? That wasn't strength. That was self-abandonment. You've mistaken silence for control, numbness for discipline, and you've forgotten that the parts of you you're afraid of might be the parts you need most. Carl Jung knew this. He didn't say kill the shadow. He said integrate it, because once you stop hiding from it, it stops controlling you. And when you stop being at war with yourself, that's when real maturity begins. The shadow holds not only your darkness, it holds your freedom. So the question isn't, how do I get rid of my shadow? The real question is, are you willing to meet the man you've been avoiding your whole life? Because he's not just the problem. He might be the solution. And when you finally shake his hand, you'll realize he's been your strength all along. So what happens when you don't face your shadow? You start seeing it everywhere else. That's called projection, and it's one of the most dangerous psychological traps a man can fall into. Here's how it works. Everything you refuse to admit about yourself, the anger, the insecurity, the ego, the weakness, doesn't just disappear. Your unconscious mind pushes it outward, onto the people around you. You start hating in others what you can't accept in yourself. You call that guy arrogant? Maybe it's because you buried your own need to feel powerful. You say your buddy is selfish? Maybe you've been people-pleasing for so long. You resent anyone who puts themselves first. You're triggered by someone's confidence? Maybe you're angry at how small you've made yourself to be accepted. Sound harsh? Good, because this is where real change begins. When your shadow stays buried, you react. Not from reason, but from reflex. You snap at your wife. You judge your friends. You silently hate the guy who walks into the room like he owns it. But the truth is, it's not about them. It's about what they mirror back to you. You think you're angry at the world, but really, you're just angry at the part of you you've been running from. Projection is your mind's way of avoiding responsibility. It lets your ego stay clean while your shadow does the dirty work behind the scenes. But it costs you everything: your peace, your relationships, your self-respect. Here's the truth. Every time someone triggers you, they're handing you a map, not to fix them, but to find yourself. The men who grow are the ones who stop pointing the finger and start asking, why is this getting to me? What part of me have I disowned? Because the world isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. And if you're brave enough to look into it, you'll find the man you were meant to be. The more you ignore your shadow, the louder it gets. And if you keep projecting it onto others, blaming, judging, resenting, it doesn't just cost you peace of mind, it rewires your reality. Suddenly, your whole life starts to feel like a battlefield. Everyone becomes a problem. Every disagreement feels personal. Every criticism feels like an attack. But here's the truth. It's not the world that's against you. It's you, fighting a war inside your own head. Carl Jung warned us, what you do not bring to consciousness appears in your life as fate. Translation? If you don't deal with it, it deals with you. Your repressed anger turns into passive aggression. Your buried insecurity poisons your confidence. Your unacknowledged envy eats away at your motivation. You start destroying your relationships, your goals, your sense of self, without even realizing you're the one pulling the trigger. Think about it. How many good people have you pushed away because they made you feel something you couldn't name? How many times have you blamed someone else for a storm you were actually carrying inside? That's the cost of projection. It blinds you. It locks you into patterns of sabotage and regret. It keeps you stuck in the role of victim, never realizing you've handed over the steering wheel of your life to the very parts of you that you refuse to own. And the worst part? The longer you avoid your shadow, the more you become what you hate. You criticize weak men, yet you avoid confrontation. You despise liars, yet you lie to yourself every day. You reject narcissists, yet you're consumed by how others see you. This isn't judgment. It's a wake-up call. You don't have to keep living like this, but it starts with brutal honesty. Stop blaming the mirror for what's hiding in your face. You're not cursed. You're just unconscious, and it's time to wake up. Here's the moment of truth. You can keep blaming the world, keep judging the people around you, keep playing the part you've rehearsed your whole life, or you can make a choice, a real choice, one that most men never make, the choice to stop running and finally turn inward. Because that pain you feel, that anger, shame, bitterness, burnout, it's not random. It's your shadow banging on the door, demanding to be seen. And here's the brutal reality. If you don't face it, it will keep controlling you, from the shadows like a puppeteer pulling your strings. But if you do face it, if you choose to walk into that fire, you won't come out weaker. You'll come out free. This is where transformation begins. Not with pretending to be someone you're not, but with the courage to confront the man you've buried. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop lying to yourself. Because the moment you say, yes, that's me, that's my shadow, you take the first step toward owning your life instead of reacting to it. You take your power back. That doesn't mean it's easy. You'll feel resistance, shame, maybe even fear. But on the other side of that pain is something no fake success, no applause, no external win can ever give you. Self-respect, inner peace, wholeness. Not the man the world told you to be, the man you actually are. So here's the question only you can answer. Will you keep projecting your pain, or will you use it as fuel to evolve? No one can walk that path for you. But the moment you choose to face your shadow, you stop being its prisoner, and you start becoming the man you were always meant to be. So you've made the choice. You're done running, done blaming, done pretending. Now what? It's time to do the real work, integrating the shadow. That means bringing the parts of yourself you've hidden into the light, without judgment, without shame, without running. Here's how you start. Step 1, brutal self-honesty. You can't change what you refuse to admit. You've got to look in the mirror and say, yeah, I've got anger. I've got jealousy. I've got fear. I've got the need to control, dominate, prove myself. Not because you're broken, but because you're human. There's no growth without truth. Step 2, watch your triggers. The shadow shows itself when you overreact. That moment you blow up over something small, that's your unconscious yelling for attention. Start asking, why did that hit me so hard? Not to justify your behavior, but to understand it. Awareness is everything. Step 3, accept without excusing. This isn't about saying, well, that's just who I am. It's about saying, that part is in me, and now I choose what to do with it. Acceptance doesn't mean surrender. It means integration. It means owning your dark so it doesn't own you. Step 4. Get help if you need it. This road's not meant to be walked alone. Find a therapist trained in Jungian psychology. Read, reflect, do the work. You don't need to fix everything overnight, but you do need to face it. Because the truth is, your shadow holds the key to everything you've been looking for. Confidence, strength, freedom, wholeness. But no one's handing it to you. You've got to earn it by meeting every part of yourself you once tried to bury. This is your path now. Walk it with your eyes open and take back everything you left in the dark. When you finally stop running from your shadow, when you face it, own it, integrate it, something incredible happens. You change, not just on the surface, not just in how you act, but in how you see. The same people who used to trigger you, they don't shake you anymore. The same situations that used to make you feel small, you meet them with calm, with clarity, with power. Because you're no longer reacting from old wounds. You're responding from awareness. This is what it means to be a man at peace with himself. Your relationships start to shift. You stop needing validation. You stop over-explaining. You stop hiding. You show up fully, not to impress, but to connect. Not to dominate, but to lead. Not to be perfect, but to be real. And people feel it. Some will be drawn to you because authenticity is magnetic. Others will fall away because they were only ever comfortable with your mask, not your truth. Let them go. You weren't made to shrink to fit broken systems or please fragile egos. You were made to live from a place of alignment, power, integrity. And when you live like that, something bigger opens up. You don't just become more successful, you become more whole. You don't just feel stronger, you feel clean, like there's nothing left to prove, and no part of you left in exile. That's transcendence, not rising above your flaws, but standing inside them, and still choosing to lead, to love, to show up. That's authenticity, not a performance, not a role. Just you, no mask, no filter, no war. This is what the journey was always about. Not perfection, not control, but freedom. And now you're finally ready to live it. When you shift on the inside, the world around you shifts too. It's not magic, it's energy. People can feel when you've done the work. They sense when a man walks into the room without needing to prove anything. You carry a quiet weight, a grounded presence, and it changes how others treat you. But not everyone will applaud it. Some will respect it. Some will be inspired by it. But others will feel threatened. Because when you stop playing small, stop participating in blame games, stop reacting from wounds, people who are still trapped in those patterns won't know what to do with you. You'll stop laughing at toxic jokes. You'll stop over-explaining yourself to keep the peace. You'll stop bending just to be liked. And people will notice. Some friends will fade. Some family may push back. You might lose circles you once depended on for your identity. But here's the thing. That's not loss. It's purification. You're not being abandoned. You're being refined. You're clearing space for relationships built on truth, not performance. For connections that honor who you are, not who you pretended to be. And you'll realize something powerful. You don't need a room full of people clapping for your mask. You need a few people who see your soul and say, "That's the man I respect." That's what happens when you integrate your shadow. You stop living from fear. You stop letting shame write your script. And you start building an environment that reflects your inner growth. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You did that. And now the outer world is catching up to the inner man you've reclaimed. Don't resist the shift. Welcome it. This is what it looks like when a man stops surviving and starts living in truth. So now you know. The anger, the envy, the insecurity, the urges you've spent your whole life hiding, they weren't your weakness. They were your unclaimed power. The shadow was never your enemy. It was your invitation. an invitation to stop living in pieces and start living in truth. You weren't put here to be perfect. You weren't built to fake it through life with a smile on your face and fire in your chest. You were made to lead with your whole self. That means facing the darkness, owning the mess, and walking forward anyway. Because real strength isn't the absence of shadow. It's the man who walks through it and comes out clearer, sharper, and more real than ever before. But here's the truth most won't tell you. You can't do this alone. You can try. You can read books, listen to podcasts, pretend you're fine. But the shadow is smart. It hides in blind spots. It plays tricks. It convinces you that the problem is always out there. That's why support matters. Find a therapist who gets this work. Talk to someone trained in Jungian psychology. Surround yourself with men who don't just want to look strong, but actually be strong. Because once you start walking this path, you won't want to turn back. You'll feel lighter, sharper, calmer. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped fighting yourself. So here's your call to action. Don't let this just be another video you watch. Nod your head and forget tomorrow. Stop scrolling. Stop avoiding. Stop surviving. Start doing the work. Write down what triggered you. Speak the truths you've buried. Take the next step, whatever that is for you. This is your life. You can keep pretending, or you can rise into the man you were always meant to be. The choice is yours, and it starts right now. If something in this spoke to you, don't ignore it. That pull you feel, that ache in your chest, that moment of recognition when you saw yourself in every line, that's not coincidence. That's your soul saying, it's time. Time to stop numbing. Time to stop pretending. Time to stop being a stranger to yourself. Because the truth is, there's no peace while you're at war with your own reflection. And there's no freedom in a life built on denial. But there is a way out, a path, one forged not in perfection, but in presence, in choosing to show up every damn day with honesty, with courage, with your shadow in hand, not as a curse, but as a companion. That's what this space is about. Not surface-level advice, not feel-good motivation, but soul work, inner power, transformation. So if you're ready to go deeper, subscribe, turn on notifications, join a tribe of men who are done living fake lives and ready to lead from truth. And most of all, keep going. Keep doing the work. Keep questioning. Keep reflecting. Keep choosing the harder, higher road. Because you didn't find this by accident. The shadow only controls the man who's afraid to look within. But you just looked. And that changes everything. You're no longer asleep. Now rise and become the man the world and your soul has been waiting for.